No, our Probus Club, I know it won't happen this year, but traditionally we have the first Thursday of the month. And nearly every January we say to hell with it, put it to the second, because people just aren't ready for it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sense in that, actually.
Well, we'll chat about that later.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Phil.
Hi, greetings.
Hello. Hello, Andy.
Hi there, everybody.
Here we go, Chris. Yep. Chris.
Did they come to arrest you the other day, Philip? There were about 4 police vans outside your house.
It was Bunty over the road.
She all right?
Don't know. She got taken to hospital again.
Oh dear.
She's fallen.
Okay.
She really needs to go into a home.
Yeah, we had that with Louise's dad, and he had to be sectioned in the end. He just wouldn't go, kept refusing, and they kept assessing him as competent. And in the end, they took him off to a home that specialises in dementia. But it's really hard to give up your independence, isn't it? You know, when you've been used to it all your life.
Yeah, but this is quite a regular occurrence. And she rings the police first.
We thought you'd been off to rob a bank parked outside your house.
No.
No, I knew it wasn't you, but...
We were walking, we'd been out for a walk and came back and saw them all parked outside. I thought, because that transit was parked on the road, it's had ambulance written on the side of it. First responder ambulance, I think. Looks like a transit van.
Yeah.
It came parked in the middle of the road.
That's probably what Louise thought was a police van. We thought, well, we did wonder if you were having a party, you know, and they'd come to take you all away.
I don't know 6 people, so I could have a party.
I must admit, they do tend to come en masse. I mean, I had 4 or 5 years ago now, I had an anaphylactic shock, and, you know, you dial 999, and the moment you mention anaphylaxis, it really happens, because it's the fastest response of anything, much way ahead of strokes and heart attacks and things. And you know, they send a first responder, of course, and this ambulance turned up, and the bloke said, terribly sorry, couldn't find a bike, I brought an ambulance instead. So he wasn't the ambulance that took me to hospital, he was just there as a transport. So I thought I was well served with 2 ambulances turning up.
The police were there.
So the trick then is, regardless of what's wrong with you, you tell them what it's anaphylactic shock.
Yeah.
Somebody will turn up.
Yeah. Hey, Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Oh, we can hear Jane.
Well, sort of.
Oh.
Listen, I find that there's an app on your phone called Droid Cam, which you can use as a webcam for your desktop, and it works brilliantly. So if you're having problems, you know, with your webcam, it's worth giving it a go. There's a Droid Cam is the Android version, but there's also an Apple version as well. But, I tried it with my laptop, because my laptop's got a camera down in the bottom left, which is a stupid position. So I thought, I'll try this. And I hooked it up. I've got an old phone. You know, it's an old Samsung. So you know, I just loaded it up, and away it goes. You just attach it to your network. It recognises it. Zoom recognises it. So which one do you want to use? Oh, nice.
I have to try that, because on my laptop, as you can see.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the Apple one's called. I'll see if I can find it somewhere. But certainly the, as I said, the Android one. So I use it with a Samsung. It's called Droid Cam. Very good quality. Well, it uses obviously your phone camera, you know, and it can use your phone mic as well.
So, we'll look at it.
Evening, Tony.
Good evening.
Tony?
Oh, hang on. It's a delivery.
Hmm.
I'm very impressed with that, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, when I come on this, I'm just abandoned.
It's the Apple version is just called Droid Cam as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and it's free. Right.
My
Well,
God,
it's free,
something
yeah,
for Apple
yeah,
that's free.
Yeah, there isn't much. I'll check that out. Be an improvement on the one they've got given me. Where's Jean gone?
Gone to get a cup of tea, probably. He's jealous.
She doesn't want us to know she's muted herself. Has Jean managed to sort out that anything yet? I mean, wonderful to hear her as well as see her.
Well, there wasn't any sort of crackling and stuff on the line, so hopefully it's
All right.
sort of, oh, this comes.
Oh no.
That's the through, as they say.
Aha. Don't know who else we're expecting tonight.
Oh,
I suppose we'll know.
easy.
Give it a few minutes yet.
Yeah. So no clear skies at the minute, Tony.
God, you know, it's a nightmare, isn't it? I mean, I actually went out. I've got a couple of pictures that during the month that I took of the moon because it's the only bloody thing I've seen. And even when I was trying to do that, the fog came in. It's just, I couldn't believe it.
Oh dear.
As my wife says, I managed to pick all the really frustrating holidays. My hobbies. My other sort of thing that I don't do so much of. I've done none of it this year actually because of coronavirus. Is paragliding, but actually that normally is called parawaiting because you go there and you think, oh, the wind's changed direction or it's dropped. You know, it's sort of
A bit like fishing then.
Yeah. You spend more time talking about it than doing it, I can tell you.
Oh,
That sounds more like shark baiting.
No, paragliding is lovely when it's working.
I once went up on one in where was it? It was the Canary Islands many years ago. They had one of these where you went out in the boat, you know, and you just
All right.
they winched you up, you know, on a winch.
Yeah.
And you know, it was fantastic. You get
Yeah.
up there and it's so quiet.
That's the thing I like about it.
Yeah,
I did a bit of parachuting, but I soon gave up with that because it's noisy. You've got to get an aeroplane to get you up there. But the idea is that you can put something in a rucksack on your back, walk up to the top of the hill, launch yourself off it, and fly about.
Yeah, right.
Just fantastic. Yeah. And then when you're finished, you put it back in the bag, stuff it in the car, and you're done.
Launch yourself off a hill. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no,
it's jump off.
No, it's not jumping. You just.
Oh, you run down, yeah.
Run down and you float away. Your little feet pitter patter, and then they stop pitter pattering.
And the wind drops, and so do you.
The wind drops, and you think, oh bugger, I'm landing now.
All right, how are we doing? So we just make a start, do you think?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Oh, welcome everyone. I was saying to the guys earlier, a real difficulty coming up with a topic this week, this month. But then I saw Brian Lee from the Whitney Group did a little video, a little time-lapse thing for the Blenheim, the Blenheim display that was up there, the the soldiers, the remembrance thing, and that sort of prompted me to look into this a bit more. So, who's done time-lapse photography before?
Not really, no.
Great, I can see what I like that. Yeah.
No experts.
That's fine. That's
I
fine.
know,
with me.
you do know the definition of an expert, don't you? I mean, an X is a has-been, and a spurt is a drip under pressure, which is why I never use the word now, because it's too close to home.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely a case of, in the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, right?
We salute you, sir.
Yeah. So, I actually did. I've done a little bit of this all the way a while back, of a sort, but I haven't done any recently. So I thought it'd be good to get back into it. So I did a bit more researching again. So hopefully this will be useful to you. I've kept it fairly simple, well, relatively simple. So hopefully this will be good. So that's the main topic for tonight, and then it's just all the usual stuff. So, do we want to start with a quick round the houses? So what we've been doing?
Can do.
Yeah, go on then. You spoke first.
Right, starting. Okay, well,
He who speaks first loses.
I've been on lockdown. It's not a bit too. I've only really, timelapse was the furthest I've been, and that was yesterday or the day before. Apart from that, it's been around the village, really. Bits and pieces, finishing off autumn. And then that's it. That's it, really. I haven't been doing an awful lot.
Okay.
Been sat. I've watched a lot of Christmas films. I've probably watched every Christmas film that's ever been made.
Heather watches it. It's Channel 5, isn't it?
Yeah, or Amazon.
Channel 5 is just wall-to-wall Christmas films, all American stuff, and they all seem to be the same.
It's all the same story, just different people.
Don't worry, Father Christmas.
It's either sort of
He seems to be a common factor, doesn't he? Yeah.
yeah. I don't know, but
Okay.
yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Dean. Andrew, what about you?
I'm a bit like Dean, actually. Haven't done very much in the last month. Walked a bit when the weather's been good. I mean, I did 5.5 miles today, which is why I'm knackered sitting here. If I go to sleep, it's nothing to do with what you're saying. It's just I'm just knackered. But I try to keep fit and try to do bits and pieces. But I have to admit I haven't lifted the camera for a month, so I should be absent in the photographs later on. But no, I don't know. I don't know about the rest of you, but I just find the first lockdown was fine. It was a bit novel, and we got on with it. This one has just been a bore.
Difficult,
Much more difficult than the first one. We found
Yeah.
anyway. But
Yeah.
I suppose it was shorter, and we had a finite end, and see what happens. But
Okay.
and I've been, my gym which I go to every week with a personal trainer. Of course, they weren't allowed to open. And they got this outdoor thing which they all set up, which again they couldn't open because it was all gyms indoor and outdoor. So my personal trainer said, "We're not having a gym outdoors. We're having an adult PlayStation. If you'd like to come along." So I've been to an adult PlayStation a couple of times.
Yeah.
But no, apart from that, not a lot really.
Okay. Chris, what about you?
Absolutely nothing. I've played around with the equipment a bit, but I haven't taken any substantial pictures at all. I got a new lens. I traded in my Tamron for a Nikon because the Tamron wasn't compatible with the new camera, and got it from Wex, used as I always do, and sent my old one in, which I knew was in good condition. They came back and said, "Well, we'll offer you this for it," which was fine, but it needs repairing. So we're going to send it off to fixation. They can give us a quote. And I said, "Well, what's wrong?" And they said, "Oh, there's a black cap, which is missing from the lens in the back of the in the back of the unit. I thought, well, that's a bit strange. And when I first got the lens, I bought it from them new a couple of years back. And it was a bit sticky, and I sent it back to them, and they said, well, it was within spec, but we've had it looked at, and they've sort of re-greased the appropriate mechanism, and it was a bit better, and it's been fine. So I thought, well, this little black cap that's missing, how's it happened? And I had several emails. Could it fall out? They didn't answer. I hadn't taken it out. The only people who could have taken it out was when it was in your, in yours. They said, oh, well, they wouldn't do that, And I said, well, look, just send it off for a quote. And, it probably because of the pandemic, there was a lack of communication. And it sat at Wex for, I just left it, and it was about 4 or 5 weeks. And they said it might take a while. And so I emailed them and said, where's my lens? And they said, oops, we've still got it. So they sent it away, and within days they came back. And one of the things I'd said to them was, well, perhaps it wasn't a cap at all. And they come back and they said, we're really sorry, the fixation had told us there was never a cap on it in the first place. It's just not there, and we're terribly sorry for our mistake. And that was that. That's all I got to say that I've done this month. Sending emails backwards and forwards. But Wex they're not bad. I mean, they're not usually so incommunicative, but it's more amusing than anything else, except, I paid for a new lens and not got credit from the other one.
Yeah.
So hopefully I now will.
Excellent. Andy, what about you?
Well, I've I've done very little photography-wise, I must admit. One thing I have just invested in is a new iPhone 12.
Oh.
And the camera on that is just amazing. Like, I'm not I went from an iPhone 6 straight to a 12, so the difference in the camera is just
a difference.
amazing, absolutely amazing. So I've been just well, the other thing I've been doing is I've got my hill climb car in bits, doing the winter service on that. So I've been taking the gearbox out of that and just generally taking a lot of photos of bits I've taken off, really, to make sure I can put them back on there again. So, no, photography-wise with the camera, not a lot, but I've just been amazed at the iPhone 12 camera, though. Really amazed, really good.
Well, this is it. I mean, it's getting to the stage where, sort of what compact cameras that you used to go and buy, nobody will buy them anymore.
No, I've always been a bit sceptical about cameras on phones, but I honestly can't criticize this one at all. It takes photos in just about any conditions you want, like really, really low light, it's great. Really bright light, it's great. That is amazing. They've done a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
I quite often find when I'm taking a photo with my phone, I shake. I can't seem to keep it steady. It's because they're so thin. It's almost as if
holding it was difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just find a shake with it.
Well, another glass of gin. That's what you need there.
Maybe it's too much gin that's in the shakes.
No, it's different, isn't it? I mean, taking a photograph with a phone is just so different. Because you just doesn't feel the same. Regardless of
it's got some great features on there. It's got this. Yeah. You probably you guys know a lot about it more than I did, but it's got a live feature, so it'll take a photograph. It actually takes a 3-second video. So if you've got somebody that's blinked on a photograph, you can go in and find a bit where everybody's got their eyes open. Just very clever stuff. Very clever.
My wife's got the 11, and that does exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
which rather sort of fooled me because she'd send me these pictures and they'd actually be tiny little videos.
Yeah.
Which I thought, well, why didn't she just take a video then? But no, it's the camera.
Yeah,
I like the big chunky heavy things that you've got around your neck, because you've got the aches and all that sort of stuff. Just too convenient. And anyway, don't you go on about your blooming iPhone 12. I've only just upgraded to a 6 for free. There's no good telling me that's no good.
I must admit it wasn't free, but I'd hung on to the 6 for so long. I thought it is about time that I kind of got a new one. So.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing some of your shots on that then.
Tony, absolutely, yeah. Tony, you mentioned about the 11 taking these little videos. I find mine. I've got an 11. I find it absolutely infuriating because I put it on a photograph and I get a video. I don't want a bloody video. I want a photograph. Now, is that what it's doing? Is it being cleverer than me?
Well, I don't know because I've not actually used my wife's phone, but I do know she keeps taking little pictures and sending them to me. And I keep getting these very, very short videos, which is like a photograph with somebody going at the end. And I was thinking, what the hell's going on?
I shall have to investigate further because it
There
drives.
must be a way of stopping that.
I'm sure there is.
I know you can disable the feature.
Yeah,
she's
got
I think
a book,
it still
but,
takes the video, but it doesn't present it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the top right hand corner. It's got a little button, a little concentric rings button, and you just press that, and it will put a bar through it, and then it just takes one photo. Then.
I mean, the 6 is just so straightforward. Marvelous.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Well,
Like everybody else, I haven't done anything. The other
we
morning,
are doing well, aren't we?
and when I saw the sparrowhawk in our front garden eating his breakfast, I had to go and find the camera.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
I'll be on my own.
Oh yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jean, you haven't been to buy a new microphone then?
He's on mute.
She says she's been watching the second virtual summit on Photoshop. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. I'll speak for you, Jean, because it's 5 days of presentations. There are about, I can't remember exactly how many there are. There were a day, 5 or 6 maybe a day, hour-long presentations. You could watch it live for free, but of course you can't then go back and do it. But you could pay what they call VIP access, and that means that you've got access to it for life, so you can go back and re-watch the recordings. If you remember the one that I showed you about remove anything, that was from the first summit. And so that's what it's like, that all day. And, if you're interested in Photoshop, it's a really good way of getting to know, because they're experts at it. And they make it look so bloody easy, though. Going back afterwards and trying to recreate what they've done is a bit more difficult than it looks when they're doing it. But yeah,
You've got to be using it all the time for it to become second nature. A lot of the stuff with these guys that are doing it all the time, they know all the shortcuts and they know exactly which button to do for what. Whereas, I end up stuff that you don't normally use. You're having to, look at the instructions and find out what the hell it does.
I find Lightroom is good for me anyway.
Yeah. Okay, right, Jim. Okay, Tony.
Well, actually, I have taken a few photographs this month. I mean, not that many because the weather's been great, but only just very, very local stuff in the garden. I said I've been out a couple of nights and effectively used the planetary camera to have a go at the moon, mainly because I just wanted to get used to using the blooming thing. I mean, the big downside of these astronomical cameras, specific cameras, is you've just got to drive them off a laptop because they've got no processing software in them. And it makes you realise how clever your DSLR is, because they are doing some pretty clever stuff. And, obviously it gives you a lot of flexibility, but you have to do it yourself. But there's some quite good software driving these things. So it's not been bad. It's just been frustrating weather-wise, to be honest. That's been the main thing. And as you were saying, lockdown is just getting a bit wearing, isn't it? It's just a bit wearing. Life's a bit samey. That's the trouble. And it's difficult to motivate yourself sometimes. So I go out for a jog.
Sorry?
So I go out for a jog instead. And when I come
Oh,
back,
yeah, for a jog. I thought you said you went out for a jog.
when I come back, I'm motivated but too tired to do anything.
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea, actually.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good enough. Yeah. All right, Heather, what have you been up to?
Working.
Oh, yeah, you work there.
Yeah.
How novel.
I'm still a wage slave. So I took one photo. We had to take a photo for the firm's marketing purposes of us working from home. So I had to set up the tripod in this little study and use the remote, the timer. I used the timer on my little Lumix camera to take a photo of me sitting in front of the computer. So, not very exciting. So I left my DSLR lying and some craft stuff because it was meant to look as though we're not just boring accountants. There's more to us than that. That's about it, really. That's about it.
All right, okay.
I think I got a parking ticket. Managed to get parked.
Oh, that's exciting.
On Friday, but I appealed against it. It was Jim's blue badge. I'd taken him to Whitney Hospital and part of name and S and the disabled. Came back, ticket. Why? Because the badge expired in May 19. Well, of course, I never look at the thing. I don't use it if he's not with me. So it lives in the glove compartment and he hadn't noticed it was out of date.
Oh, yeah.
Needless to say, I applied for a new one. That's on the way. And I appealed just yesterday, sent an appeal in. And I got an email back today saying they've cancelled it.
Oh, that's a shame. It'd be so much more interesting if the bailiffs were coming round.
I know.
Then you get some good photographs. You know.
Yeah. Take a video.
Yeah.
And then the other funny thing this month was my grandson, I think it was earlier in the month, was it Ramadan or something? My grandson goes to an international school and one of his best friends is Muslim. So he comes in from school one day and announces to the family, in support of my friend, I'm not going to eat pork for a month. So, of course, my daughter's immediately on the WhatsApp group telling us this. And we're all saying, oh, does he realise there's pork and sausages and things like that, and bacon? And she says, well, he says he's going to do this for a month. The next day, another message pops up. He said to his dad, I've had enough of this Muslim lark. He says, can we go to McDonald's? So he lasted all of 24 hours.
Oh, brilliant.
It was the highlight one month. We just thought it was so funny. He's like, he can be a bit of a comedian.
Yeah. Right, well, down to me then. Well, if you take all the activity that you've all done, divide it by 100, and that's probably what I've done.
Oh, come on, Ray. You produced a presentation.
And do you know something? That I did it today. Honestly, I did most of it today. I don't know where the time goes. I mean, a lot of it's taken up with Whitney photo group. And I've been doing some web stuff there. And of course, the other thing I've been doing just in the past week or so has been the Wychwood magazine. Because I do the website for that. So every time there's a new issue comes out, the previous one goes online. And I have to take all those articles that you see in the magazine and they have to go on as web pages. And so there's quite a bit of work there every 2 months. So that kind of keeps me busy as well. And then, of course, I've got charity stuff that I'm doing as well. I do their website, and I do. There's a couple of Zoom meetings a month, so all of that stuff keeps me busy. You know, quite apart from the fact that Heather's still recovering from her broken arm, so I do I have to do almost everything right now.
What
as
happened?
well.
What happened?
So, she fell over, broke her arm.
Oh dear.
She's trying to. She walks with a stick. She's a bit unsteady anyway, and she tried to go up these steps, and she tried on her own that she shouldn't have done. They were too big, and she just lost her balance and went over, and it broke just right up, just below the shoulder.
Ooh.
So they had to pin it.
Oh God.
But of course, she can't use her arm, and it's the arm that she normally uses to hold her stick. So she can't walk without me taking her places, you see. And of course, she needs help doing all sorts of things, but I'm not going to go into that. Right, so that's that. So let's get on with the presentation that I've done. As I say, it's time lapse, and I've done best I can, I think, here. As I say, I'm no expert at it, and although I've done a little bit of it before, I think I remember doing a bit with Cinefilm many years ago, where I did a little video of a chess game, but it was more of an animation, and it was actually using Cinefilm, doing stills on a cine camera. So that's probably the nearest I've got, although I did dabble with some stuff digitally when digital first came out. Right, so let me share my screen. I presume you've got sharing on, Dean.
I have.
Oh, you have indeed. Right, okay. So, right, can you all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Right, so first of all, just for the avoidance of doubt, time-lapse photography, what is it? So just capturing a series of images, set intervals over time, compressed into a video of much shorter duration. But I guess you all knew that anyway. So we won't dwell on that. So what do you need if you want to do a time-lapse video? What do you need? So obviously, let's start with the camera. Well, these are the sort of options. You can either use a camera with an interval timer facility built in, and I guess most new or most modern DSLRs have that. But if not, then you need a camera that can accommodate a separate interval timer device. So this is a device that just basically controls the camera and takes pictures at set intervals. Now, I'll just at this point just show you the sort of thing we're talking about. Right, this is just a quick look on Amazon. Now, I can't vouch for any of these, but there's obviously quite a lot of these around, and they're all at various prices. They go down £13 there, £14, and they'll go up to, there's one here, where is it? This one, £166, which is but you use that for Astro as well. And you might know of that one, Tony. So if you're interested in doing this and you don't have it on your camera, then you need to check out some of these, and you can see they're some of them are very camera specific. Okay, so that's the other option if you don't have it built in. But basically, you could use any camera. If you're prepared to do the whole thing manually, and good luck with that, because that's a bit of a slog. As you'll see, I'm going to go through this. And all the other thing really you need is a tripod. I mean, clearly you want a steady picture, so you don't want the camera moving around all over the place. So that's it really. That's the basics of what you need. Now I've said the little note at the bottom. You can get software. You can tether your camera to a laptop, and there's software available that will do the sort of interval timing type functionality. But I'm not going into that. I think that's just another step, which maybe at some point in the future we might look at, but certainly not today. So I'm keeping it fairly simple. So the built-in intervalometer. Now this is my Pentax, as it says at the bottom here. I guess has anyone else got this on the camera? I guess most of you do, yeah?
Mhm.
Dean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's there or not. I've never seen them, but I haven't looked for it, to be fair.
Yeah. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I've got something similar. Yeah.
Yeah. But these are the sort of functions, the basic functions that you need in an intervalometer. I mean, this is the sort of little menu where you select the shooting mode, and there's 4 options under this last section here. There's this which is a straightforward interval timer. This next one is what it does is it's an interval timer, but it merges all of the shots together and gives you a composite. So the output is one image. This camera will actually take all the images and then put it into a movie for you. I'm not going to use that today. I'm going to go through and show you how to, just take the stills and then from that create a movie. But obviously these days, cameras do everything. But you can do the whole thing in camera if you want. This last option here is star trails. I'm not going to go into that. That I think is for another day, doing astro type stuff. So basically here we're going to be looking at this is the basic interval timing function. Now when you select one of these, you then get these parameter options down the bottom, and these change depending on which one of these you've selected. So for this one, the basic interval timer, there's the standby interval. Now that's a case of how much time there is between shots. So you take the first shot, and then there's the interval, and then you take the next shot, and that interval carries on. The number of shots is obviously how many do you want to do. Mine goes up to 2,000, so I can take 2,000 shots. But obviously, I guess different cameras will have different options there. And then there are options for when you actually start your video. Now, you start taking the shots. And the options I've got here are just pressing the button, which is that one. So you just start off by just pressing the button and away it goes. Or you can use the delay timer, and that's either the standard 2 or 12 second there, or you can use your remote, and again you can use it straight off or with a delay. Or in fact, the last option here is you can set the time. You can say start it in whenever, so many minutes or whatever. Now, I guess if you have a separate intervalometer attached to your camera, then it will have similar sort of functions built in, because that's basically what you need. You need to tell it how many shots you want. You need to tell it how often you want the shot taken. Those are the 2 main things, really. So, actually taking the shots then. exposure mode. The advice is to use manual exposure. If you use auto or semi-auto, you can get flickering. You know, depending on how long your video is, you know, if you're taking it over quite an extended period and the light keeps changing, then, you know, you could get, when you play the video back, you can get quite a bit of flickering. So it's best to keep it on manual. ISO is just the usual reason. I mean, keep it as low as you can for, you know, keep the noise down. Depending on what you're shooting, you may have to bump it up a bit, depending on the light. But just the usual, keep it as low as you can. Aperture. Now, there's a thing here that I found out when I was doing some sort of research on this. There was a piece that said to avoid the smaller apertures, so things like f11, f16, because it can reduce. Oh yeah, to reduce. Sorry. You can get aperture flicker. I didn't quite understand this at first, but then what they seem to be talking about is, I think it only applies if you have a leaf shutter rather than a focal plane shutter. Because what they're saying is that with these leaf shutters, when they kind of open and close, you know, to take the picture, they don't always go back to the same point, apparently. But anyway, having read it all and looked at it and thought, I'm not sure this is really going to make an awful lot of difference. So I think it's one that would need to be just tried out. But I suspect that it's not really going to cause a big problem. So, I mean, if you went something like f8 or something, it's probably fine. Shutter speed, choose carefully in conjunction with interval between shots. If you think about it, especially this is especially the case if you're taking a fairly slow shutter speed. If you've set an interval, you know, your interval between shots of say 3 seconds, and you decide to take, you know, your actual shutter speed that you're setting for this is something like say 2 seconds, then there can be then a bit of a lag because of things like noise reduction, which would then take you over your 3 seconds, if you know what I'm talking about. So you can miss your slot, as it were. So what you have to do is make sure that the you know, the shutter speed is such that you want a shutter speed of about 60 to 75% of your interval time, just to give it time in between. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd get a continuous picture, wouldn't you, if you got it wrong?
Yeah. I mean, this is really, if you're doing maybe night shots or something, you're doing quite long exposures. That's where it really matters, because, you know, noise reduction time can be quite significant. So you just need to make sure that you're going to clear all of that, you know, before you take the next one. And then focus, manual focus really is what you want. I mean, obviously, if you had it in automatic and something comes into your shots, you know, it could affect where it, you know, change the actual focus. I mean, if you use back button focus as I do, and I've got the focus on my normal shutter button switched off, so the focus is only on back button, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change in between. But if your camera's going to focus with each shot, then you need to be mindful of that. So it's best to be on manual and consider the depth of field. You know, I mean, if you're taking something like a landscape, then you know, something maybe using the hyperfocal distance is what you want to do, just to make sure you get everything in focus, and then just leave it. Right, so just some considerations. So what sort of time between shots do you want to select? Well, so it generally depends on the subject. What I've got in the next slide, I've got some examples of sort of different subjects and different times between, but it really does depend on what you want to do. You know, I mean, if you were, for instance, maybe you wanted to do a time lapse of a flower coming out or something, that could be, you know, over quite a lengthy period of time. And you might want to have quite lengthy time between shots. But you know, I mean, that's one. I mean, a bit of experimentation, I guess, is probably the thing. Shutter speed, yeah, I've just
Ray, just thinking about what you said there. If you're doing a flower coming out,
yeah.
your exposure may change dramatically if you start in the morning and finish in the afternoon, with the amount of, you know, as the sun comes up or anything. So you'd have to have it in automatic, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. It depends. Well, yeah, again, it depends. It might be that you actually want to see it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I think with this, you know, I mean, it's all about experimenting, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's nothing here that's going to be, this is what you must do. I think these are all kind of guidance things, and you know, I think you need to play with it yourself.
Do you know if the exposure is metered for every shot?
Sorry?
So every shot the camera takes, does the meter work and the camera reset all the settings, or is it all just done as if you're in manual? So if you're in aperture priority, is it going to meter every shot so the exposure is always going to be roughly the same, no matter what the kind of the sky is doing? Or does it just stay the same all the time, and then it's dependent on the light? The light changes, you get a different exposure. Which way, do you know which way around it works?
Well, what I've said here is that you know, from the stuff I was looking at, the recommendation is you put it on completely manual.
Right.
Because, well, again, it depends what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're trying to take shots, you know, that cover a period, and maybe it gets dark, that might be exactly what you want. Yeah, you might not want it to be exactly the same all the way through.
Yeah, good point.
Interesting.
So as I say, it is about experimenting. You know, or if you take, for instance, I think Brian Lee, when he did his stuff in Blenheim, I think that went. I think that kind of went up and down, didn't it? Don't know if you saw that, but I think it did. I think he did it in manual.
Okay.
But again, as I say, I think this is one. I mean, I'm certainly going to. I mean, I've done one for the purposes of this. You know, I did a very quick one, a very small video, which I'm going to show you soon. But you know, I want to spend a bit more time. I'd quite like to do a bit more of this. So maybe once I've done that and played with it a bit, and maybe if the rest of you play with it for a while, we could maybe compare notes at some later date. You know, come back to this, compare notes, and just update this stuff once we've had a chance to play with it. I think that would be useful. So some of these other things, switch off image stabilization, that's just the usual reason, you know, if you're on a tripod. Use mirror lockup, you know, reduce risk of blurring. Now that again is if you've got a fairly slow shutter speed, I guess, is really when it matters. Make sure you have a full battery. You know, you're going to take an awful lot of photographs here. Yeah, things like live view and preview, these are the things that really use your battery up. So you might want to think about switching those off. I mean, if you're only doing 10, 20-second video, it's not going to matter too much. But if you're doing anything a lot longer than that, you need to consider that. I mean, you can't stop and you know, change your battery halfway through. then, of course, make sure you've got sufficient space on your memory card. Because if your memory card runs out, it'll just stop and that'll be it. I guess the other thing is don't use one of the older memory cards, because the read or the write time to some of these older ones might be just too long. So a nice new big card is probably what you want. So here's this is the examples I was telling you about. You know, if you're trying to capture the movement of the sun across the sky, the recommendation there is 15 to 30 second intervals. I mean, obviously the number of shots is up to you. It really depends how long you want the thing to go on. But the moon, of course, moves a lot quicker. So I just want the 3 seconds there in terms of the interval. Slow moving clouds maybe. 5 to 10 seconds, fast moving 1 to 3, normal around about 5 seconds. And then I saw this one somewhere, Aurora Borealis, 15 to 30 seconds. That looks to me like very much a try it and see type thing. The trouble with these try it and see things is each of these, it takes a long time. And this will show you exactly what we're talking about. So, I mean, typically you're talking about 24 frames per second. That seems to be about the normal for video. I mean, you can change that, but 24 frames per second seems about normal. So a 10-second video will need 240 shots. So you just need to be aware of the overall time that you're going to need to do this. And there's an example. The 20-second video is just the output, 20-second video. Moving clouds, so going back to that list in the previous one, we'll say 5 seconds between each shot. So for 20 seconds, you're going to need 480 shots. And an interval of 5 seconds, that's going to take you 40 minutes. So if you want anything longer than that, you know, obviously, you know, 30-second video is going to take you a minute. So you need to be aware of that. And this is where you can see that, you know, trying to do this totally manually with no intervalometer would be a bit of a bind, to say the least. Right, so post-processing. Right, what I'm going to do is, let's come out of that, and I'm going to show you what to do in post-processing. Now I'll come back. Then I've got a list of things there just as a reminder. So let me first of all go into where are we? Lightroom. Okay, now can you all see that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's in a different workspace. I wasn't sure whether it would come over okay. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you need to obviously import your shots. Now, I'm assuming here you're going to import raw files. So what I've done is I've done a short video. Where is it? There it is. So my card's just had to plug my card in again. So don't want that. There we go. There's just the demo here is just a little thing about ducks down at the Wild Garden. I was hoping to do some moving clouds. Right. Hang on a minute. Something to do moving clouds, but of course today, trying to find moving clouds, yeah, well, it was a bit difficult. So, yeah, problem is I've already done these. So, but I mean, basically what you're doing is you select all of your images. So these are shown grayed out because I've done them already. So, but you would just select them and import them as you would normally. And that will then give you, if I find my collections. Right, okay. So what this has done is this is all the images is brought in. Okay. So what you might want to do in Lightroom is you might want to make some adjustments. So the thing to do is go into the first one and decide what sort of adjustments you want to make there. Now I've just done some basic stuff here. Actually, that's just using auto. That's all that's been done to this is I just use the auto setting. And I've also changed the crop overlay. You'll see that's actually at 16 by 9 because that's really what you want the video to be. Well, let's say probably. It's certainly what I've chosen here. So I've cropped that to 16 by 9. So having then done that, the thing to do then is if you select all of them, and then this setting down here at the bottom right called sync settings, you click that. What it says is, what do you want to synchronize? And this allows you to synchronize those settings that you've made for the first one across everything. Okay, now you'll see here that the basic tone has been changed there. I didn't actually change any of the texture, so I wouldn't really, you don't really need, I mean, just to be on the safe side, you could just click everything. But you just certainly need to just click whatever you've changed, including crop there, you'll see. And then when you hit synchronize, that's exactly what it does. Everything then ends up, I'll cancel it because I've done it already. But these are all now 16 by 9 aspect ratios. They've all had the same adjustments made to them. So you've got a consistency across the whole lot. Okay, so once you've done that, the next thing is to export them as JPEGs. So if we just say export, yeah. So decide where you want to put them. So I've got a folder I created. For the custom name, the file naming, what you want to do here is you want to use this sequence number convention. So you've got various options here of different ways of doing the file naming. You want to choose custom name dash sequence. And what that does is it uses whatever text you put in here. I've used ducks, and then it appends it with a sequential number. So the output will be ducks 1, ducks 2, ducks 3, right up to ducks 480 or whatever it is you've done. Okay, and you'll see why we need to do that in a minute. So then JPEG image sizing 1920 along the long edge will give you a 1920 by 1080. So that's a sort of standard HDR video. You've already set the aspect ratio, so all you need to do here is resize to a long edge of 1920, and that'll be fine. And then export it. Okay, and what you will find is you will get this. So you see I've got ducks 1, ducks 2, so on and so forth. This one actually only goes up to, what does it go up to? 194. Because I was going to do more, but guess what? I ran out of room on my memory card.
I thought you were going to say it rained.
No. Yeah. But I thought there's plenty of room on it, but I'd forgotten some stuff that was on there. But anyway, so that's what you get. That's your output. Okay. So that's it as far as Lightroom is concerned. Now I'm obviously using Lightroom, and I'm going to use Photoshop now as well. There are other ways of doing this, and you know, if you don't have these, I haven't looked, for instance, at things like GIMP to see whether that can do this sort of thing, but I suspect that there are other ways, but we won't go into that today. So let's shift over to Photoshop. Okay. Now, what you need to do here in Photoshop is File, Open. Okay. You then go to, obviously, wherever your images are. Now, what you do here is just click the first one. Not all of them, just the first one, Dux 1. Then you click this thing down here. It says Image Sequence. Click that. Okay. Now that image sequence will only come up if you've only clicked one. So if I undo that, if I clicked a few of them, anything other than one, right? You see this has been grayed out. It only works if you've only got one. And that's basically what's telling it that, you know, this is a sequence and you want a video. It uses that. And then you just hit open. And once you've done that, you will get this. Okay. Now it comes up just as one image. And over here you'll see it's just one layer. Ignore that video group one for now. That wouldn't be there when you first start. But it comes up as just one layer, and you'll see there's a little icon there, movie, saying that this is actually a movie. And then under window at the top here, if you open the timeline, which I've already done, you get this panel at the bottom. And this is where you can then make adjustments, you know, to your video. When you could add things like a title, you could put a title, you know, just put an image on the front as a title. You could add audio tracks here if you wanted. Okay, you can see what it's going to look like by hitting play. So it's not a very exciting video, but I was going to call this Crazy Drake and a Few Ducks. So there you go. So that's the play. And so once you're happy with it, what you then do is File, Export, Render Video, and you get this. And basically all you need to select is the name you want to give it, the folder where you want to put it, and then hit render. I mean, this you can leave. Typically this is all okay. I mean, obviously if you're into this, you might want to change these for whatever reason, but generally probably you just leave it like that. Hit render. When you do that, you will end up with this. If I double click that, there you go, there's your movie. Okay. And that basically all there is to it, actually, just keeping it simple. let's go back to this. Processing. So this just summarizes, you know, can are you recording this, Dean?
Recording's on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just a list of what I've just done, just as a reminder of what you need to do. So Lightroom, import, make adjustments, change the aspect ratio, select your images and sequence, click sync settings, export using the custom name sequence, resize long edge 1920, and then in Photoshop, open the image set, navigate your folder, select only the first image, check the image sequence box, click open, select window timeline, make any changes that you might want to do, and then create the video. As I said, just render video. Okay. That's it, basically.
Right, question. If you haven't got Lightroom, can you do it in Photoshop without the Lightroom bit in front of it?
Yeah. I mean, Photoshop, the thing to do is you need to get that sequencing right, you know, the name of them.
Yeah, okay.
But, you know, I mean, you could have created those JPEGs any way you like.
Yeah, okay.
But if you want Photoshop to recognize that you're doing a video, you'll need to have those sequence numbers there. They have to be obviously all the same name.
Yeah.
Because you've only picked one, so it's saying, right, I want everything that's called ducks with a number.
Okay.
So, you know, and in fact, I guess, I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't shoot the thing as JPEG in the first place.
Yeah.
It really depends how sophisticated you want to get with it all. But you could do one like just shoot JPEG. But you would then have to change the names.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just
to be honest, yeah. And you could use Lightroom to change the names. Just change the names.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess there's other batch processing options for doing things like that.
Why do you do that? Why would, if you want a video, why not just shoot a video to start with? I don't understand the purpose of it.
Well, it's time-lapse.
My Wi-Fi failed actually at the beginning of the thing, and I couldn't get back on. I might have missed a bit.
It's because you can cover a much longer time scale. You know, if you just shoot a video and it's 6 hours long, you can do that in a time lapse in a few minutes. So that's why you kind of condense it like that.
Oh.
I mean, my example
is on my camera as well, by the way. I found how to get there. So you can do it if you've got a camera.
Yeah.
Well, the interval timer, yeah, it's on there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the menu.
Oh, I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, Heather, it's things like, you know, people like you see sort of clouds moving very fast, you know, across the sky, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's that. I mean, the video I did wasn't particularly good. You know, I just did it just for the purposes of this.
Yeah.
You know, it's got no merit at all. But you know, something like you know, well, as I said, you know, maybe seeing a flower coming out or something. You know, I mean, you wouldn't want to have a video of that, would you?
I mean, they use it. If you watch Blue Planet or any of the wildlife programs, you know, and you see sea urchins moving across the seafloor. I mean, that's all done in time lapse, isn't it? Because actually, if you watch them, they hardly move at all. You'd have to take a video hours long to see the damn thing do anything.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Or mushrooms coming out of the ground, that kind of thing. Those that take a long time, really boring to watch if you just sat there for hours. But time lapse can condense the whole thing and make it really interesting. That's the idea, I think.
You're not
I think you're
convinced.
coming around to the idea, Heather.
Sorry?
I think you're coming round to the idea. I can see the enthusiasm bubbling.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm probably not fully understanding the technology of it all.
Well, the technology is very simple. I mean, all it is just, it's the same as a movie, except instead of using all the frames that you would have in a movie, you're discarding most of them and only keeping 1 in 10 shots or something like that,
Aye.
That's all it is. And it just gives you a flavour for, the events, whatever it was, over time.
Mm.
But condenses it. Yeah. I mean, it's...
Yeah, but I'm not getting how you're saying if you were want something that was take a video of an event that was lasting 6 hours. I don't understand how you can do that in 40 minutes. You've surely still got to be there for 6 hours to get all those.
Well, of course you have. Of course you have. But
when you watch it back,
nobody's going to sit and look at the video for 6 hours.
No.
Whereas they might look at a 20-minute one.
Ah, yes, right. I see.
because you're only taking a shot every 10 seconds or something, and so it condenses.
As opposed to constantly, yeah.
Another one you might have seen is, if you imagine, if you set your camera up and, to focus on a bird table, say, right? And you leave it doing this sort of stuff, maybe for an hour or so. Yeah? And then, what you might find is, you get birds coming back and forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing. That could look quite good. Because otherwise, you're sitting there waiting for a bird. Yeah.
Aye.
Whereas, this is going to
go away and leave it. Set it all up and go away and leave it. Yeah.
I mean, presumably, Ray, if you wanted to take pictures of birds on your bird table and you don't want to sit for an hour and wait and press the button, if you do that, with luck, you'll get a couple and you discard, the 200 other pictures you've taken to take the 2 out with the bird that you've got on it.
Well, you could, yeah. Because the problem is, a bird could come and go during the interval. Yeah. You probably get the birds all lining up and said, right, let's see if we can mess them up here.
I mean, I don't know, Ray. That could be intriguing because you could actually have a picture of the food going down and never actually seeing anything do anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. My wife would say that's like watching me eat them. Yeah. Right, any other questions? Was that interesting enough?
Yeah,
It was.
yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's, if you get a chance, have a go at it. Because it'd be good to, compare results. Because it doesn't take long. Just do a 10-second one or a 20-second one or something, and we could share that, and it wouldn't take much time at all. Maybe one of the later sessions. Okay. Shall we move on to our picks then? This shouldn't take very long.
But we haven't got any.
Has anybody got anything?
Well, I mean, I've got a few. Not
Go on,
many.
then. You win, then. You win.
Is it me? Am I the only one?
No, I've got
I've got a few as well. Go on, Tony.
Right.
Okay. Great stuff.
Right, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, doke. Here you go. These are really, really exciting. So stand back. It's a cat. In fact, we've got two
Have you shared
kittens.
your full screen, Tony?
Sorry?
Have you shared your full screen?
As far as I know, I am. Yeah, why?
We're still seeing your Explorer window.
Oh, hang on.
If you stop sharing,
Stop sharing and then make sure you click screen before you hit share.
All right.
so share, then screen, then share.
Screen and then share. How's that?
So I did the screen.
That's better.
That's it. Well done.
Yeah. Hang on. I need to get rid of this, else I can't do anything.
Yeah, that's a cat, definitely.
Yeah. Well, we've got 2 kittens, but they're not really kittens anymore now. They've grown up quite a bit.
Oh.
That one, which is the male cat, I can honestly tell you, is as mad as a box of frogs. I think he's a perfect example of farmyard inbreeding.
We did one like that.
It does have a certain look on its face.
Yeah, I mean, he always looks like that, and I mean, that's him in a relaxed pose. Crazy. Actually, what I did find interesting, we had a day in the middle of the month sometime when it was really lovely in the afternoon, and on the Mahonia, I suddenly spotted a red admiral, which, I mean, on the 13th of November, I think it was.
Amazing, isn't it?
It was lovely. So, yeah, and it was there for some time. Well, obviously, it was in the sunshine feeding. Very pretty thing.
I killed a wasp the other day.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, to be honest, Lynn and I, she does the bookings in the village hall in Milton, and we keep getting wasps in there, dead wasps. So God knows where they're coming from.
The roof, probably.
You'll find out in the spring they'll come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. That was a sunny day. I couldn't resist it. It was just the fact that, you plant things in the garden, don't you? And that hollyhock is growing out of a set of paving slabs.
Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah.
Typical, you couldn't, if you tried to plant it there, it would never grow. But I quite
love
like the fact that it was.
I love the way you've positioned that right in the middle. That's good.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I couldn't move the hollyhock. I had to move the house to do that.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the butterfly again. I just tried a couple of times. Yeah, this was sunrise, and the trouble was, it's like it's a very ephemeral thing in terms of. And I just happened to get up and look out the window, so I sort of took the shot there and then, which unfortunately has got this electricity cable straight across it. But it was absolutely fantastic colours. Really, really like that. I don't know if the rest of you saw it, but yeah, it's really glorious.
We don't get up that early.
No, well, there you go. If you stayed up a bit later, this is a shot I took of the moon.
Oh, wow.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What it is really is I use a thing called a planetary camera. It's really like, well, it's just a camera, but it will take high-speed videos. Because when you actually looked at this through the telescope, because of the atmospheric effects, it was shimmering. It was like the whole thing was wobbling.
Yeah.
But so this is a result of taking a 3,000 frame video and taking the best 10% of the shots. You can get free software to analyze it, and then sharpening it up with a bit of wavelet sharpening, and it's amazing what detail you can pull out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I can't see the Chinese spaceship though.
No, well, it's like, you see, I'm not sure that's just a rumor. That is. Anyway, so at least I could see the moon that night. That's it, the other way around. I then tried on another night to use the thing through the larger telescope, which is 2.1 meter focal length, and that is not as sharp as I hoped it would be. But the crater, this crater here, is called Clavius, and I rather like it because you've got this big old crater and you've got this arc of mini craters arcing around it. It just intrigues me. But yeah, I mean, that's the one I took when unfortunately the fog rolled in. So I was that was the best 10% of 2,000 frames, but that was really
That's good. Yeah.
I'm still hoping to do
like
better.
that.
I think if I get a
Pretty
really
impressive.
if I get a still night, I'll be able to improve on that. I think
Yeah.
a frosty morning.
Oh, that's good.
It's a verbascum leaf actually. We didn't plant it, of course. Just arrived. Like at least nearly half the plants in our garden seem to be of that ilk. Now that was, I was actually walking home and as the sun was setting, that's actually looking pretty much sort of east, southeast to east. away from the sun, and the sky had these beautiful, it was a misty day, and the sky had these beautiful colours in it, and the moon I thought looked quite ethereal. But it just, you know, it's like you try and take a picture. In fact, I took several, but when you actually look at it in the picture, it just doesn't have the atmosphere of the view I had. So it's, I mean, I quite like it, but it was a bit of a disappointment compared with what I saw, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'll stop now.
All right, very good.
Very good.
At least I did get out with the camera and froze on a couple of nights as well.
Good man.
It's good for
Oh,
me.
no.
It must be like
Well,
open water swimming. It's going to make me live forever.
Is this a
Anybody
good
else
thing?
who should-
Myself?
I can
Sorry?
check what I
I said
say.
it's a good thing, Tony.
Oh, yeah, bless you. Thank you for that encouragement.
Go on then, Chris.
Right. I hadn't got any photographs, and I thought I've just been trawling through pictures I've taken since 2005, and I thought, well,
all of them?
show a few of
Are we going to see you in your shorts, Chris?
Don't be cheeky. And I just found a few, some sort of well-known international sites, and then the local one, which I'll run through them anyway. There aren't too many. I'll share my screen. Have I done it right? I've gone back to Windows, so something looks different now. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
You got it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. These original ones were taken on a little Fujifilm 5.5 megapixel, just a compact camera. And looking at all these, it's amazing how bad they are. You know, some of them were interesting compositions, but I'm just really ashamed to show them because they're actually so bad. And I put them on Lightroom, just as a matter of cataloguing them. And I thought I just had a few I go through anyway. And apologies for the quality of some of them. But this one, I don't know if anybody recognises that. That's in Central Park in New York, and it's a tribute to John Lennon. And it's just a circular mosaic in the middle of the park. We took our holidays to the States, and we flew to New York, and then hired a car and drove up to Niagara. And one of the famous cuisines in that area are buffalo wings, which are chicken wings, basically. I don't know again if anybody knows these, but of course, buffalo is on the doorstep of Niagara. And that was me just having a bit of lunch.
Never seen flying buffaloes, I have to say.
No, they're incredible. They're quite small, really. They're a little bit like chickens.
It's no wonder they got wiped out.
Yeah.
People must have trod on them accidentally.
No, when I first went out there, somebody said, "Well, we're going to have some buffalo wings." And I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, chicken wings. And they're quite spicy. They're really quite good. That's Niagara from the American side. And that's a bit of river that you don't really want to be going falling into, because just here, it disappears. It goes straight down.
Yeah.
If you move on, that's the other side.
That's impressive.
The interesting thing,
Looking up at the book, I just wish I had a decent camera, because that's awful. But it does show really how dramatic those falls are.
Yeah.
the interesting thing I always found about, particularly when you're looking from the American side, is how shallow it is on that bit until it hits the bit you've got there.
Oh,
now.
that's right. Yes.
It's a couple of feet deep almost. And then all of a sudden it goes over in that huge amount of water.
Yeah. It isn't half moving though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
and that's still the American side. I think this is the Canadian bit here.
It is, yeah.
Just looking down on it. And that's on our way back. That's ground zero. That was 2005. I mean, they cleared everything away, but they haven't really started building. And then this was another holiday. Found this place fascinating, the Giant Causeway. There's only one big problem taking cameras. You cannot get a picture without hordes of people. It's a pity. I guess if you went first in the morning, you know. But that's a fascinating place to go, actually. I don't know if anybody's been. But those are the crystalline rock formations. It's the best sort of shot if you get them.
There's a place a bit like this on the Isle of Mull, I want to say.
Yes.
With Fingal's Cave. And
that's right.
Basalt thing.
Yeah. That's somewhere I'd like to go, actually. I think it's on television recently.
Yeah, it's a short ferry ride from Oban over to the island.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely want to go there.
Right. And it's, I think that's sort of country farm, actually. But very, very fascinating geology. And that was on the way back. That's, I was quite like the place, actually, better to see coloured. So coming back through Wales. These are all taken with a. This, I think, was, which I thought was quite a nice camera, a Panasonic TZ40, I think. It was about 15
That's quite good quality.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you zoom in, the picture quality is really poor.
Yeah.
So most of these are the full frame of the camera. You can see there's a bit of cropping done just to get the composition a bit better. But there's no opportunity to zoom in. And that was a real opportunity to get some terrific pictures, but the camera just wasn't up to it. And that's a river trip in Shanghai, and that is just fantastic. It really is awesome to see that all the lights down by the river. But that's the only picture I dare show, and that's pretty bad. And this is, I took a few of these. This was, what was it? It was 2015, I think, and it's the gardens in Kingham. I'm not sure. Does anybody know this? It's
the sculpture gardens.
The sculpture garden. Yeah.
I know where they. Yeah, it's an interesting place. I don't remember seeing that, but
I think they open. You know, they have an open day or two every year, don't they?
Yeah.
We haven't been since then, but I looked through these and I thought, oh, these are a bit better. Yeah, I just thought they were.
We're bad here then.
Yeah. I've got a whole heap of these.
I really like that, actually.
Yeah.
But that's, there you go. I think the clouds, I think it was really good. And that one is quite good.
Is that wooden?
Sorry?
Is that wooden?
That is, it's just wire. I don't know what the frame is, but this is all wire. I won't give that picture a name, but if anybody else wants to name it, then I think that's about it.
Lost my phone.
Sorry?
I've lost my phone. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Fascinating stuff.
oh, that's good.
That's clever, isn't it?
Yeah, I like
Yeah. Oops. That's it. That's it.
That's nice.
yeah.
But it's just interesting what we were saying earlier about quality of phones. I mean, my phone it's not as good as the well. I haven't seen the pictures from the iPhone 12. Mine's a OnePlus 6, and that is pretty good. Really better than anything I'm showing you here. That's it. Stop share.
There you go.
Cool.
Anybody else?
I've got a few if you want to see them. I can pad it out and show you a few more if you want me to.
You
Yeah,
did some Todd Lakes, didn't you, the other day?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll
those are good. Yeah.
So what did I do? I can't remember what I showed you last time. So let's just have a look. Try and work out what I did last. That. I can't remember. Maybe that. Let's have a look. So this is part of my little project. It's actually been really lucky because it's kept me going, you know, throughout the summer was easier because obviously it's lighter and warmer. And there's less cloud about. The winter's been a bit, I'm not quite as active this lockdown as I was the first one.
You don't have to get up so early though, do you?
No, this is about 7 a.m. But
Yeah.
at the minute sunrise, when I show you the shots from Tar Lake, every one of those is taken after 7:30.
Yeah.
But this was the first cross, this one. This is down by Home Farm. So Home Farm farmyard is just up there, and that's Pool Tops just up there, if you know where that is. So, and the allotments are off to the right. If you just keep going to the right, you eventually come to the allotments of the church. And it was kind of dawn one day.
That's nice. I like the colours in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got the idea that these are actually planted around the farm in little copses. They're all over the place. Little, just, 20, 30 trees. I keep coming across them. They're going to be selling them from Friday, I think, up at the farm yard. That's just, where we parked our cars to go to the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a couple just in case, and obviously that's just shooting into the sun. It's nothing clever about them, but it's the kind of thing. So this is the avenue that goes up to Pool Copse. Pool Copse at the top. You can't actually get down to the water. It's quite steep and it's surrounded by trees. But there's actually a copse up there with a pool in the middle. One day, maybe if I'm feeling a bit more adventurous, I might venture down there. This is obviously sunrise. And we'll start walking back. Well, there's much of a muchness, really. There wasn't that much to take pictures of. It does change directions a little bit this time of year. I quite like this one, actually.
Yeah, I like the golden colours in that.
Yeah.
Lovely that.
The sun is behind, so it's backlit, so you get all these beads from all the frost in this case. If you saw the clover one that I took, that was 4:30 in the morning, but that's dew on the clover, on the outside of the clover leaves. This is, actually, that's quite nice. There's Home Farm. There's the barn. That's where the kestrel lived. They nested in there, and then the other side of it was where the owl was. And they've just converted these silos into offices, I think. Put windows and stuff in.
Yeah.
There you go. Like a bit of red. Take pictures of anything. Oh, look. Weeds, a lot.
Well, a lot of these are quite pretty, aren't they? Especially when you get up close.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. I went into Brewing Wood one day. And like I said, I'll take pictures of anything. Look at it. It's not very good, really. There's some fungi about. It's actually, has that got that? Yeah. You see over here on this leaf, you see that? I didn't spot this until I got home and processed the shot. And could I find this group of fungi again afterwards? No, not a cat and hell's chance. These are moth eggs.
What?
A really, really nice macro subject, but I just couldn't find it. Find it again. I didn't notice while I was there because obviously they're tiny. When I took them out of this shot, you can kind of see it's a bit blood in there. This is all in broom wood. Yeah. I quite like this. This is just a fallen tree with some leaves on it. I like the spots of colour. That's that. What have I done recently? You'll see that not everything I take is amazing. So, this is funny because this is a massive. All I had on the camera was I think it was might have been a 50 mil and 85, and I can't remember exactly. But anyway, there wasn't much zoom, and this was quite a long way away. And I saw this deer. There's actually another one as well, but I didn't get that one. And one of the shots, I've got 3 shots of it. One, it's right over to the left. One, it's kind of gone, and you can see the backside. And this one, it's jumping, and it's got this tree going through it like it's on a carousel. That tickled me, just one of those things.
You sure that's one?
Is that what?
You sure that's just one?
That's one deer, yeah.
Looks like 2.
Yeah, you just want a little kid to jump on it and it'll go around in a circle. Yeah, also boring. It's quite good for if you're doing a website, I suppose. That is ivy, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Catkins. Oh, these I liked actually, but
Okay, there.
I like the bouquet in the background.
Yeah.
It's not really is all about the light, the bouquet in the background, rather than the leaf, isn't it? But all this is this is near the entrance to the wood, near that little lay-by, and there are trees there, and you're looking towards the light, and it's coming. So what you've got in the gaps between all the branches and twigs and leaves and things is a load of point sources of light, basically, and that's what happens when this is f3.5, I think. Something like that. I usually use around f4 often to take pictures of plants. And I like that anyway. So I've done a few attempts at it, as you can see. No idea what that's. Flowers. Wander through the wood. Oh, yeah, all that. There's nothing much in there. It's closed at the minute to the public, isn't it? There are a few people who've got permission to go in, and every time I go in there, there's somebody walking through there. But it's closed because Louise said she'd seen on the Wychwood Post that somebody had said it's closed because too many people were going in during lockdown. Well, that's not the case. It was closed long before lockdown started. It's closed because on the ground here, all through the wood, there are all these fallen branches. And so you've got 2 problems there. One of them is it's quite a trip hazard, but also you don't want anybody being hit by something falling. And that's why it's closed. Yeah, not for any other reason. Don't know if I've got anything of it that's been there. We had that frost. Also frost. That's only a few mornings ago. Obviously not on Brewingwood. This is a line and road. This road here. Right. That's also line and road. Just as you turn off, there's a lay-by and an entrance to a works yard or something. And apart from there, this is just there really. I was hoping that we'd have mist lying in the valley and I'd be able to see over it, but of course that's not what happened. And that's by the petrol station. There's a little kind of, well, I don't know if I'd call it a lay-by. It's full of holes, but there's a little space to park the car there. And I like the colour. Against all them kind of misty backdrops shifting through. Okay. And I promised tile 8s, didn't I? So I'll show you all of it then. So where is it? I was only going to show you a couple of shots, but you might as well see the whole thing.
Oh, that's nice.
Very good. Yeah.
That looks very tranquil, doesn't it?
Yes, this is 7:30. Not entirely sure that's straight. Oh, no, it might be. So you can see. I'll tell you, the dynamic range of modern cameras is just amazing. Look at this.
Yeah. You got Venus in the picture as well, I see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, twice. Yeah. Well, I mean, once in each picture, I hasten to add.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just at the top.
Venus on a dust spot.
It's quite a good dust spot because it was in the other picture as well. I suppose that's true with dust spots.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's there in the middle. Yeah.
So obviously that's not Venus, that's the moon.
Yeah.
But that was a full moon. And it was really low and really big. I'll show you my not so good shot bit. So these are all with a 20mm lens. So very wide angle, everything looks like it's a long way away. And that is with a 50mm.
Like that one.
That's dramatic, isn't it?
Yeah. It's starting to go red. So you can see in this one, see all this cloud here?
Yeah.
As the sun rises, it goes red from this end to this end. By the time we get red here, it's kind of orange back here, but it gets more and more dramatic as you go. That's kind of what happened. There's a panorama of it.
I see that works better.
Yeah.
Boxing it like that definitely works better. Just taking that little bit of extra sky out of the top.
Yeah. Well, this is the camera's in portrait mode, and it's about 5 or 6 shots.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, once you've seen it, you've kind of seen it, but it's quite nice when you start. It's quite nice to silhouette in. This is the other lake, the second lake. Didn't really go very far around it, but now I've got the 100 to 400 on the camera. And I like this actually. I do like that shot. I'm not so sure about all this fuzzy stuff in the foreground, but I like the ducks.
Yeah, it's good.
The geese flew over, and there's the moon.
See, it was better. You know, clearer than my picture. I mean, it's just so frustrating.
Well, I don't know. Your first one was a lot better than this. But this is as well. You can see
it's not bad, that though, is it? That's actually. I mean, you can see quite a lot of detail on that.
What are your settings there, Ben?
There you go. So we're a 500th of a second. They're 5.6, 200 ISO.
Yeah.
What that was. And there was a lot of exposure compensation, something like -2, I would say.
Right.
More than that, but it was because there's all this cloud, there's all this pastel colour around, and a lot of it was kind of in front of the moon. And I think that's why it's a bit hazy, and why you've got this light around it. But I've taken a lot of pictures of the moon. They never come out right. They're not as good as Tony's one. As I say, that's a bit of a crop, but it's not bad. Oh, there we go. Done.
That was nice. I like those pictures a lot.
Good. Yeah.
That's so easy to take. The trick is being there when it's happening. That's the ultimate. Actually, taking the pictures themselves is so simple. It's just exposure compensation is all it is. It's -1.7, and off you go. And, you know, the rest of it's going.
You took those after the deadline for the competition, didn't you?
I took those the day of the competition. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I did.
Because I think the one or two of those would have done well, I think.
Yeah, I thought that last night. But I mean, I'm not like some people are obsessed with those competitions. And as I said to you earlier, some of the competitions are really kind of quite enthusiastic about. But there were a lot of them that I really just enter because I feel I ought to. And I felt that was the same last night, you know.
Yeah, well, I was like that. I just put a couple in. You know, I'd left it to the last minute. You know, I thought, I've got no inspiration for this. I'll chuck these ones in, and I put a couple in. They didn't do very well.
That's pretty much what I did. Yeah. Yeah, hey ho, you know. The long exposure one I might have a bit better go at.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just depends what sort of photography you like, I think. And there's some of it that I don't really like, because I don't mess about with my pictures too much. I don't mean that, you know, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because it's a form of art in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
there's no right and wrong with all this stuff.
yeah, no, there isn't. I said I prefer it the other way, but it's, you know, as I say, there's no kind of right or wrong with it, and I can appreciate. And I thought that shot that Lindsay took was fantastic. What she'd done to it, I knew that was going to win as soon as I saw it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, especially, you know, since we had Colin as a judge, you can pretty much go.
It's interesting though, because I remember when we first started, the first year we were at Whitney, we had a competition where we didn't have a judge, and we did peer review. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Where we upped that. Now the thing about that is, at the end of the day, the winner is the one that most people like.
Yeah.
And that can be totally different from the one that the judge would think is the best picture.
Yeah,
So which one's better then? You know, one that people like, or one that's technically better? You know.
Yeah, 'cause there was one last night, and it was pomegranates, and I really liked it, and he just disregarded it.
I like that.
To be fair, there were quite a number of them that he quite liked as a shot, but he said it just didn't work with the theme. You know, I mean, one of mine got that. It was just, and I mean, Dean got the same comment. The one blue time one that I did, he quite liked the shot, but he said it doesn't really fit with the use of colour.
I thought he took the use of colour to, you know, about as far as you possibly could.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it was a very difficult one to. I mean, I had quite a job actually, you know, defining it to start with. You know, I came up with that definition, and it was well, does this work? You know, but he seemed quite happy with that. But it was very difficult, very difficult. You know, I think it was a bit too general, just use of colour. Thinking about it, you know, because a lot of people just thought, "Oh, I just want a picture with colour in it," and that's not really. I mean, if you take a picture of something and it happens to be very colourful, that's not you using the colour. That's you just capturing what was there. You know, whereas if you look at what Lindsay did actually use the colour.
Yeah, she
created it. She used the colour to create that. You know? So you could see where that actually matched the criteria better.
She's a lot better than she is. You know, she's really good, Lindsay.
She is good.
Yeah.
She is good, yeah.
She doesn't believe it, but she is.
Yeah. Right, well, actually, our next competition is portraits, which is going to be interesting because, you know.
We need a definition for that. We don't want any pets. They've got to be people.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking about the definition, but it's definitely going to be people. Anyway, AOB, we've got anything else to discuss apart from the date of the next meeting? Anybody got anything else?
No.
No. Okay. Well, the next meeting. I mean, normally in January, we often, you know, bump it to the second week in January because the first Wednesday is usually just a bit too near the first. as it happens, next year, it's the 6th of January, it's the first Wednesday. It could be, it's the furthest it could possibly be away.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the first. So we could still have it on the 6th if you want, or we could bump it to the 13th. What do we think?
I mean, I'm easy with either. The 6th is fine by me, but the 13th will be okay.
Yeah.
I'm easy either way.
Stick with the 6th then?
Yeah.
Okay, and who is it? Who's going to
I think
do?
it's me. But if anybody's got any ideas what they'd like to see, then let me know.
I was struggling, so I think
Because I'm struggling a bit at the moment.
We do need
I mean,
some ideas.
we can review something that's been done before, provided it's not too complex.
Yeah, I've got an idea, but I'm not sure. We were on. There was a lot of discussion about phone photography earlier on.
About
Mobile phone photography.
phone photography, yeah.
I wondered if that could be because there are things like how do you determine where the focus is, how do you change the exposure. There are things in mobile phones now where you can do a long exposure, except it isn't, but it looks like it is. And there are lots of things. There's portrait mode where you can blur the background, and modern phone cameras have come a long, long way.
Yeah.
Usually they're like 3 or 4 lenses.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that might be one. If you want to do it, Chris, fine. If you don't, then I'll do it. Maybe.
And the only other thing is,
I'll think about that.
We've actually got a theme on this very thing. Well, no, it's not actually. It's creative. We've got a speaker who's going to be speaking to us about phone photography in the Whitney group. So I wonder whether it might be easier to do it after that.
Yeah.
Okay. When's that?
Then we'll have a lot more stuff to share.
Yeah.
Actually, if you want a quick look, there's only 3 of them. I've got 3 portrait photos, but then I've used an app on the phone. You want a quick look now?
Yeah, go on. Then.
Yeah.
There's only 3 of them. So share screen. Share.
That's it.
So I guess you could include things like Lightroom Mobile, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
How do I get?
Just click on it.
Go on.
Just for one photo? No?
Just click on it. Click on the one you want. Double click it.
Oh, it's a few. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
That's one of my granddaughters, and that was taken with my phone and then run through an app called Photolab.
Yeah, it was. That's good.
I kind of liked the effect of it.
Yeah.
So to go to the next one, do I need to
You probably have to close that one
close that one?
because it's.
No, it's closed. No,
Click another one.
with another one. That's another one of my granddaughters. That's Photolab as well, which I really love the effects of these things, but they're not everybody's cup of tea, but
It's neat, isn't it?
yeah, I think it's pretty good the way it does it.
How much choice have you got in what effects you want?
Oh, loads, absolutely loads. This is, you can see where it says Photolab at the bottom. I just use the free, I can't remember if I paid for the app, but I used the free version of it. But you can,
why you get the
you
logo
can
at the bottom.
upgrade to Photolab Pro and all that and pay more, because there's one that's like a cartoon type that, kids like, don't they? Again, that's another one of my granddaughters. And I think they're some of them are quite good, quite fun. They're different.
Well, I think that's the word, fun, isn't it?
Yeah, and I, you know,
Yeah.
I quite like stuff like that.
Yeah.
The arty effect, and if you've got grandkids, they like it, don't they?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
You know. So I should put my style on there. Maybe I'll look as gorgeous as that. Dear me, I think that was the only three. Yeah. Oh, this is an interesting thing. I'll just quickly show you this one. Right. So my daughter's driving home from work and passes this bus shelter. This is in Adelaide, Australia. And nearly crashed a flaming car because that's my granddaughter in the middle of that ad on the bus shelter.
Oh, really?
She knew the photos had been taken a while ago. You know, they're a couple of years old, and they had been displayed in the school. But then she didn't expect to see it recently on a bus shelter in Adelaide.
I hope they've got a signed release.
Yeah, she probably had to sign a display, you know, a thing that would allow them to use them, wouldn't she?
Ooh.
So, yeah, she says, driving along and there I spot my daughter on a bus shelter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I
In the
guess,
portrait competition, can you do funky things like that?
Mm.
I think it comes back to what Ray was saying later on, is whether you like the photograph or it's
Yeah,
technically good.
yeah.
Maybe, you know, far be it from me, I need to do with society, but maybe you should have one that actually is not technical, but one that people like, and you get a totally different response.
yeah.
We've got a committee meeting coming up soon. I might just float the idea of having at least one peer review.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy it would be to do on Zoom, mind you.
You probably have to vote and give the results tomorrow week, wouldn't you? You know, I don't know.
I'll be away doing it. Be away doing it. I'll maybe think about it.
It will be interesting to have a peer review, keep it secret, and then have a judge, and then see what the difference is.
How many of each top 10 you get in the others' top 10 will be interesting.
Well, actually, does anybody use PhotoCrowd?
No, I keep meaning to.
That's exactly what they do. You know, they have competitions where you'll have an expert will choose their ones, and then you have the sort of everyone else chooses what they think is the best, and they're never the same.
No,
Never the same. Okay, are we done?
Right. Well, thank you very much. Lovely to see everybody.
Yeah. Have a good Christmas.
Have a good Christmas.
Take care.
have a good Christmas.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Ray.
In which
Bye.
All right. Cheers, then.
Yes, bye.
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 Bye.